Mic'd up.
Hello. Welcome to Yankees Coast to Coast. It's good to see you, folks. I'm sorry I missed last week, but Michael and Frankie the Yankee were adequate replacements.
I wouldn't say we were adequate. I would say we were what we are, below average.
Alternatives.
Yes, we were an alternative. We
The
were good.
second team.
We were a good snooze button.
Yeah, I like Frankie. Frankie's
great.
fellow.
Yeah, he wanted I made a mistake and didn't let him go off on the facial hair thing that I should have let him go off on. So
you wouldn't let him go?
No, I just didn't bring it up as much as he probably would have liked, and I think he would have been. He had a lot to say at the very end, but we were running out of time, so it was on me that's on me that I didn't really give us enough opportunity for him to really go off on the thing that he likes to talk about. So who knows? The millions of people who listened to us and saw us on YouTube know what he said and didn't say, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, those people, I'm telling you, they're just we're getting close. We're not quite at Taylor Swift. We're almost at Britney Spears, though. We're almost at Britney. So
No, I think I think we're more at the. We're slightly ahead of Kramer and behind Joe Osteen as far as go.
Kramer has some scary content. Ogling blondes at the at local bars is kind of scary. But,
ogling women at the local bar who are just legal. He won't go for the underage, but they want nothing to do with him unless he shows them his bank account, and they'll be all over.
That's right. And we'll be cutting this part of the show. The three of you who are laughing.
Kramer doesn't listen anymore. And I think next week's going to be our prediction show. It has to be, right? Season starts in a week.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm in. I've got my $400 tickets.
And what day of the week is the Yankee home opener?
Thursday, sitting up in the way up the frick stairs.
What time is the game Thursday? Is it an afternoon game?
Yeah, it's usually 1:30. They start normal time.
All right, so you think you'll be back in time to do this show?
Yeah, I will be back for our fiasco, I promise.
That's good. All right. Otherwise, we'll see what happens.
So what are we talking about today? I think we wanted, it's been a terrible spring training. It's been so, deflating. We were so excited. We did feel good about this team. We liked what they did in the offseason. And it's been upsetting, bottom line, that it's been hard. My wife always calls it, they're the team made of glass.
Well, they're not the only. I mean, think about it. The Dodgers opened the season, and Mookie was just sick, but Freeman is having ankle issues, so they didn't play.
He had ankle. He was hurt last year.
Right, but neither one of them played in their start. Do you think they'll lose a game this season? They're 2-0, the Dodgers.
Wow.
Will they go undefeated? Or better yet, will the Cubs win a game? That's the choice.
Yeah, no, I think the Cubs will be fine. But no, I think that it's amazing. But it is we talked about it a lot. It is a sport-wide problem. They need to find some way to handle this because. And here's one idea. I like to bring it up. What do you think about this? Let's make spring training 10 days long. Start March 15th, and then open up the 27th. What do they need this time for?
Well,
these guys, I've talked to enough of these guys, and they say the same thing to me. They do it. They play golf in the afternoon. They work out in the morning. Then they play a little bit when the games start. And then they're out by the third inning. And then they don't really play seriously until the end of the month.
Till this last 10 days
of
training.
So, it just seems that they're getting hurt, in things that I don't quite understand. Like, what are they? What's breaking? Are they just? And if they're gonna break now, if we operate under the assumption that now this era of athlete needs to, comes to camp in absolutely spectacular physical condition and then immediately breaks down. That's going to be the assumption that we're operating under.
Well,
Then let's
let's look.
think
Wait,
about
let's
something.
go back.
Why not let them get on the field and play
Which
games that matter before they break down?
Well, let's talk about this for a second. All right, let's talk about the Yankees injuries for a second. Which position players are hurt for the Yankees? Which
Third
two?
base. You got
No, no.
that. You
Which two
got
guys? Which two guys are hurt for the Yankees right now and are definitely not starting the season with the big club? Which
all
two
right.
guys?
All right.
Stanton and LeMahieu. They were
Yeah.
going to get hurt anyhow. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's
so
about who their replacements are going to be because they can probably pick up
right.
that
I
war
mean, yeah, if
elsewhere.
you look at what the Dodgers did, they rolled out, Rojas to play shortstop instead of Mookie Betts, and Kike Hernandez got to play instead of Freeman. And, so they roll out a little bit better depth than the Yankees do, but most teams can't roll out what the Dodgers roll out. And quite frankly, I didn't want DJ to be in the starting lineup anyhow,
Mm.
right? And then if you look at the pitching injuries the Yankees have, okay,
So
Cole,
that's where the problem.
Cole, it's Tommy John injury, so that's going to happen. That's from throwing, right? Tommy John injury. Schmidt's got a back, which is a little bit frustrating, right?
It's the Schmidt thing that upsets me a lot because he is now an essential.
Yeah,
he has to develop.
And Hill's got a lat, right? But we talked about this, a couple of weeks ago. I told you I didn't think Hill was going to make it through the season because of the innings jump, even though I liked what the Yankees did with him last year, in that they looked at him and they said he doesn't have an innings limit, but they said they were going to look at things like his control and command and his mechanics. Well, anybody who saw him in his last 10 starts saw that his command was off. I can't tell you if his mechanics were off. I don't have that kind of video production in my life here. But his command was certainly off. His walks to strikeout ratio went out of whack. He was walking so many more guys. And, Carlos Rodon, I talked about that too. Rodon's going to have something's going to come up with him because that's just the nature of his career. Every other season, he ramps up his innings and he gets hurt. The ones that his innings aren't ramped up, except the 1 year with the Giants where he was going to be a free agent. He went back to back over 150 innings. And last year was the second most innings he's ever thrown. Fried will be fine. He's coming, he had some back and stuff like that. Stroman is Stroman. Warren is Warren. The question is, okay, who's the fifth starter if Schmidt's not there? And we were just talking about Carlos Carrasco, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is it going to be Carrasco as the fifth starter?
Well,
he pitched five shutout innings Wednesday against the Braves.
Very solid, but I think it's more of there's a game going on here of having to do with who can opt out, who has an option. Like I think that everybody feels that Warren deserves a starting spot, but the Yankees also can't be giving up guys like Carrasco.
Well, that's why I think Schmidt's gonna make his way to the IL. I mean, he threw 30 pitches today in live BP against Wells and Goldschmidt. Right.
Well, they're saying he'll be back on the 6th. They're saying now that he's going to play April 6th. That's his first game back. So he's going to miss the first rotation. He's going to miss
right. And Carrasco's got an opt out Saturday. Either he goes on the 40-man roster on Saturday or he can opt out. So the question is, if the Yankees are going to put Schmidt on the IL, unless it's a 60-day IL, there's not a 40-man roster spot to give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Yankees 40-man roster is the question. Is there a spot that they're going to get somebody off the 40-man roster? I don't think that there is. I mean, who could they take off the 40-man roster? I mean, I know that I'd love them to be able to take off. They could take off Yuri De Los Santos. I mean, you're talking about he's not going to be on the major league roster, right? They could take him off the 40-day. Take him off. Not going to take one of the young guys off. Weisiger doesn't count because he's on the 60-day. He's really the only pitcher that's, Yuri De Los Santos isn't making the Yankees. Unless they put somebody else on the 60-day. I mean, they could put Beater on the 60-day, I guess.
That's probably what's going to happen. Like,
That
where is he? What is
that'll
his?
get him off the four. That'll get him off the 40 man. So who knows? I mean, they could do that because Beater's not. Another guy who gets hurt more often than a pane of glass with a baseball.
Team made of glass.
Yes.
Um, so definitely, but the purpose of this phone call today, this show, was to discuss
Power.
how are they going to hit? How are they going to win this year? What have they lost and what are they going to get back? How have they replaced it? You lose Stanton now because Stanton's not going to be back till July probably. So that's just what we're going to expect. But he would have missed 100. He'd miss 50 to 75 games anyway, no matter what. That's
Right.
why I wasn't upset about it because I felt that if the Yankees gave that spot to
You want to give it to Rice.
I want to give it to Rice because I think Rice is Rice will his game. We will not miss Stanton if we get a lot out of Rice, and because we're still going to get home runs, we're not going to get as many, but we'll still get them. We may not get them, as far and beautiful and graceful as they are, but they're going to be there.
Graceful.
He's going to
Wait,
have
did you use Giancarlo Stanton and graceful in the same paragraph?
Yeah. Well, the home run I mean the flight of the
Majestic
baseball,
home runs. Okay.
as in flight of the bumblebee.
Okay.
There
Well,
is
here's the situation. Yankees led the majors in homers last year with 237.
yeah.
They led the majors in homers last year,
Yeah,
right?
but they had 100 from two guys.
They
All
had,
right.
well, they didn't have 100 from two guys. They had 58 from the
98.
guy.
He had
Oh
40.
yeah,
How many did he
I
have?
forgot about Soto. I'm more concerned about the Soto 41 that are disappearing than I am the Stanton 18 or whatever he
Yeah.
had last year. What did Stanton have last year? 28,
26. 26 or something.
27, 27. He had
All right.
27 left. So,
So I think that if we get 15 out of and I think we get more than that. He's already got 5. I know it's spring training, but there is power. I've seen him hit. We saw him last year do it. He just fell apart later because they figured him out and he started to get nervous. He started to know his job was coming to an. It's like the minute he got wind that he was to step out, like he was going to be replaced. It really became it got into his head
you talking about
and he
Rice?
just Rice. This year, he looks like a different guy. Like not just in size. He's hitting exactly the way he was projected to. Gap to gap power with about an extra 25 feet, and that's pretty amazing. Gap to gap line drive power with an extra 25 gives this guy 25 home runs this year, 20 to 25 home runs if he plays 120 games, 130 games. Is that possible? It seems like it is now. So if he does, but what I love about him is he can play some positions that have value to them. He can also, as a DH, he can be great as at the left-handed on the left side, and he'll get most of the at bats. And then what's also great is that he's not an absolute pile of pus on the bases. He's gonna there I
He's
did it
athletic.
again. I just
He's
went and
definitely athletic.
insulted Stanton. I insulted Stanton. I just did. I can't. I said I wasn't going to do that. So I didn't mean to say that he was a pile
Well,
of
you didn't use
pus.
Stanton's name, but
Close.
you also said Stanton was graceful. Well, Rice so far in the
I gave
preseason.
him a little love. I gave him
Yes,
love.
he's got 46 at bats. He's got 13 hits, 5 homers. He struck out 14 times in 46 at bats, which is about a third of the time. He's hitting 280. His on base though is 365, which you gotta love, right? And his slugging
Now
is over
here's a funny.
600, so you gotta love that too.
That was something funny here. I took a look at
By the way, the
was
other guy that I say that he's competing with is not on the 40-man roster either. So, that's another thing. Dom Smith is the guy, that he's sort of competing with, and he's not on the 40-man roster.
yeah. I wonder what's going to happen with him. He he gets a record. He has a rep of being a good first baseman. Did you see him in the game the other night? The other
No,
day?
he hasn't been as good for a couple of years, but he's got a rep.
Oh
And
my God! But at
Dom Smith
first base, I mean, was a butcher. But
Dom Smith has had 37 at bats, and he struck out 12 times, which is similar, a little less than a third, right? He's got 3 dingers. He's hitting 297, but his on base is only 289, but his slugging is 560. So Dom Smith's having a good preseason too, but I don't think, he's not on the 40-man roster either.
No. And what's amazing is if you look at, I like this is the time of year, and I know I'm not doing it with you this year, but ESPN, where you look at their projections, and they're thinking,
that's exactly one of the things I'm looking at is different projections.
and Smith is projected to hit 217, have 115 at bats, and hit 3 home runs. I mean,
but look at Ben Rice.
That's just to show how they did not feel he was going to get a job. They did not feel he was going to get a job.
Ben Rice's stats are not
terrible.
Significantly better.
Terrible. And he has a much better chance of playing with the Yankees this year when this was than Dominic Smith at the time of printing this. So let's take a look at Jason Dominguez.
Ben Rice, they expect him. Yeah, Ben Rice is, they've got him.
They say 6 home runs.
240 with 6 homers. I mean, but they only having 100 at bats, so who knows?
Look at his on base percentage.
His OPS is 799, so his it doesn't have his on base on this one. I don't know why.
Does it? Wait a minute.
I'm looking at something different than I normally look at.
What's it called?
I'm on the ESPN site. It's just not giving me what I wanted to give me.
What's his name again? Ben Rice.
Ben Rice. Uncle Ben Rice. So his on base is 347.
347, which is
which is good.
Very, very good. I mean, that's what I mean. If they can get 325 to 330 out of him.
But these guys are all projected. Most of the projections are with him having less than 200 at bats. He's going to have more than 200 at bats the way this is going.
So if he has 300 at bats, he hits 15 home runs. He's hitting 20 home runs. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. By the way, Dominguez has had 50 at bats in the preseason with 14 hits. By the way, he's red hot.
Yeah,
really. But he's only got 14 strikeouts and 50 at bats, which is 28%.
So did you hear something about him? He has not He's barely had any right-handed at bats this year because they're not picking any left-handed pitching.
That's why I want them to have Pereira on the team, because I think that's a platoon that's going to happen. Pereira's hitting 333 with a 423 on base percentage in the preseason, but he's only had 21 at bats. So Pereira's been doing really, really well.
But didn't they option him?
No, Pereira is not optioned. He's not optioned yet.
No, they optioned Pereira.
Did
they? They didn't option Peraza.
They can't option Peraza because he has no options.
No, but I'm meaning they sent Pereira to the minor league camp.
Did they really? I'm very disappointed.
Which annoyed me. I thought, why are they doing this? He's having a great camp. He looks like $1 million. They really have a problem with him. Isn't it weird? They really don't seem to like him. Don't know why.
I don't know why. Did they really option him?
Don't know why. They optioned him out like a week ago. And everybody was like, why? He's having a great spring, and he's versatile. They like him. He's got
he can play anywhere in the outfield. Yeah.
But so let's look at Dominguez. Dominguez are expecting 398 at bats. I hope they get more than that out of him. This is very conservative. Why would they think he's only going to get 398 at bats? He's got the starting job, left field job of the Yankees. This has been in the news for a long time. He's going to hit more than 16 home runs. They're saying he's barely going to have 50 RBIs.
Are you looking at ESPN?
Yeah, I mean it's 249 batting average. This would be
I'm looking at the Roto stats, Roto Champ, and they have him with 477 at bats with 18 homers and 63 RBIs and 22 stolen bases. So they have him near 2020, and they have him hitting 247 with a 330 on base and a 413 slugging. They have him striking out a third of the time. That's a little less than a third of the time. I'd take that out of him.
Do they do this by team?
I'm just on RotoChamp and I pulled the Yankee stats. The guy that I think is going to be most interesting is our friend Anthony Volpe.
Oh, it really needs to be a good year.
He's got to get his strikeouts down, and he's got to have his batting average has got to be better than 240. Yeah, which is what Roto has.
Yeah, I'm liking this. I thank you for pointing this out. I like this because now this is exactly what I want to see. I want to see the whole lineup projected for 25, and the folks they're thinking 27. Jazz can have a big year. They're thinking Jazz has 27 home runs. They're not replacing these numbers. Goldschmidt well, they'll hit 45 between Cody and Goldschmidt if things go like that. How's Goldschmidt doing? Is he okay?
Yeah, he was hitting the ball really well, and he has a back, but he'll be fine.
Yeah. The problem is they have nobody who can hit for average on this team. Nobody. None of them. It's Judge or nobody. The next highest guy they're thinking is Bellinger, 251. I mean, this is amazing.
Well, when if you look at the sortable ESPN projections for these players,
Mm.
Judge is out of control as far as being the best player that they've got. So it's he's the only guy they project in all of baseball to have that many home runs.
Mm.
So it's interesting. I mean, if you sort by home runs, he's at 53 and Ohtani 43, and those are the top home run guys. RBI wise, they have Judge with 131, and the next closest guy would be Jose Ramirez with 111, and they have Judge with 121 walks. The only guy with more walks is Soto.
What are they expecting Juan to do this year? 30 home runs and 81?
36, 104 with a 280 batting average and a 964 OPS.
Where do you have that? I'm looking at the
I'm looking
same
at
thing at Roto.
looking at the ESPN stuff.
All right. So Roto says 30-81. That seems light. 276 for Soto.
No, they have 278 for ESPN. I mean, he usually hits about that. Last year he hit
290. He hit 298.
288 last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess they figured that Alonso's not as good a protection for him as
He's
Judge.
not, and he's also gonna, that is a much bigger ballpark.
It is a much bigger ballpark. I mean, his doubles are going to go skyrocketing. But 36 to 41 is not a big drop off in home runs for him. But from the Yankees' perspective, where are they going to get 237 home runs again? I don't know.
No way.
I mean, Wells.
No. Well,
Wells last year hit 13 and 400 at bats. He's probably going to get a little bit more at bats. He'll probably hit a couple of more homers. Judge is not. Judge will hit near 50. That's a given.
Right. No, but they got nothing. They got 6 home runs from left field last year.
Right, which is why Dominguez hitting 20 is a step up.
And they got nothing from first base.
Nothing at first base either.
Yeah, and so you can see maybe they can do it again because right now they're saying that.
Well, they got nothing from one outfield position and from DH. Sort of. I mean, Stanton was good in the playoffs, but I guess he did hit 20. When he hit 27 homers. So you got to figure out where they're going to get the 68 home runs that they lost. Right? It's going to be hard for them to get it. I mean, Grisham is not going to give them to you. Chisholm hit 11 homers for the Yankees last year in 200 plate appearances.
All right, do me a favor. Go into these things and read.
You get 600 plate appearances. That's 3 times the plate appearances. You're talking about close to 30 homers.
Let's do the math. Go in right now to the projections and tell me by player.
Okay.
What are they expecting from left field this year? So from Dominguez.
They're expecting 18. One has him having 18 is both ESPN and Roto.
Okay. From center field.
Bellinger has got 21.
So 21 from Bellinger. First base.
24 from Goldie.
Okay, 24. Then at second base.
20. They have 27 for Chisholm. Seems high, but really it's not because if you take projected stats from last year, he would hit over 30. So 27. Okay. Second base. And last year from Torres, they got 15. So
yeah, well, that's going to be our next analysis. So right now, Chisholm getting.
But at third base, you've got Cabrera and Peraza, right? So Cabrera projected at 10, and Peraza. Let's see what they have for Peraza. Peraza, they have him with 4.
So they're looking at 15 between these two.
17.
Tops.
17.
So 17. Okay, so that's third base. Shortstop.
Volpe. Where is Volpe? He's got to be here. They have 16 projected for Volpe.
Okay, and then catcher.
Well, catching, they have 17 for Wells.
So Wells, I think Wells is going to do better than 17. There's no question. That's very light. So 1, 2, 3. So then DH.
That's the problem. DH. What are we going to put there?
So let's just say, but what are they expecting from? Because
Combination.
Rice, you can't
Let's
tell
do-
because they're thinking Rice is under statistic.
Right. They have this website has Stanton with 260 at bats, which is a half a season,
All right.
and has him with 18 homers, and it has Rice with 130 at bats, which is a third of a season or
All
a
right.
fourth.
Let's just say that's a split. Let's just say
That's
they
that's
split the season.
25. That's 25 between them.
All right, so 25. Okay, so now we got that. Before I do the math, let's go back and take a look at last year.
I was told this show wouldn't have any math on it. Come on, man.
What did they get from DH last year?
Stan had 27.
What did they get from left field?
Mr. Verdugo, 13.
Did he get 13?
Yeah.
Why did I think he had 6? Okay, Bell. What did they get from center field last year? Obviously.
Well,
50, they got 58.
58. We're going to give him 58.
Okay, then this year we got.
Well, first base last year they got 8 out of Rizzo, and 8 out of Rizzo and 7 out of Rice.
All right, so they got 15.
13 this year.
13.
Yeah.
The 13, and then they got a catcher.
Last year they had 21 combined between Trevino and Wells.
What about second base?
Second base was Glaber. He had, what, 15? Did Glaber have last year? 15 Glaber had.
All right, third base.
You got to add 11 for Jazz for third base last year.
So they had 20.
Jazz had 11, and we'll give them Cabrera had. How many did Cabrera have last year? Cabrera had 8. So give him 19 or 20 from third base last year.
Okay, and then what about shortstop? Volpe didn't have a lot. What do you have?
Volpe had 12, and they predict him with 16 or 17 this year.
Okay, and then what about 1, 2? What
The
about
bench is what's left.
No, we won't do the bench. Bench we'll not worry about.
Okay,
so right now, so first base, second base. Who's our third base last year?
I don't know. Third base. Third base last year we have Jazz. I gave you Jazz and Cabrera.
You put Jazz at second base.
I put Jazz at third. I put Jazz at second base this year. Last year he was at third base. I gave you him and Cabrera for third base last year.
Okay, third base. Okay, so all right, so we got
the Jazz and Cabrera combined for like 20 last year.
Okay, so you got a calculator?
I'll do it in my head. Give me the numbers one by one.
27, 13.
So okay, that's 40. Go ahead.
58, so that's 98. 13.
111.
21.
132.
132. 20.
152.
And 12.
164.
164.
That's the starting lineup?
That's what you got last year. This year, now we go.
So now if I go to this year and I look at this, the easiest place to look is the place I told you, right?
Well, wait a minute. I didn't add right field. That's 41 last year. So okay. So that's 200
and
so
203.
203. Okay, so 203, and then this year you've got 25, 18,
43,
50,
93. This is 21. Exciting radio. 93. What's after the 93? What?
21.
All right. Go 114. Go ahead.
24.
139.
27.
Or 38. 27. So 65. 165.
17.
182.
16.
I hope I'm doing this right. 198 because people are going to rip us for our math. 198.
17.
So that's 215.
There it is. They got their home runs. They got them back.
They got them because of Bellinger, Goldschmidt, Dominguez are all going to perform above average, and Cabrera and Peraza are going to hit 15 between the two of them to keep the Glaber numbers. Volpe is Volpe. Chisholm is going to be, a full season of Chisholm.
That's a lift. Yeah. So what they've got here is they've been able to, and this is all hooey because who knows?
Yes, it's all garbage. It's all garbage because it's us.
But the point is that they haven't lost a lot of their thump. They've just moved it around. You know, they've moved it out.
They
They've
spread it
moved it
out.
around.
They have more depth. What I'd like to see them do is have the on base percentage for the team last year was the third best in baseball, which shocks me, which was
That will not
333.
be replaceable this year
Because
because
Soto, they're losing Soto's,
so
you know,
otherworldly.
Soto's on base was ridiculous. It was, oh my God, what the hell was it? It was a ridiculous number. His on base was 419, and there's no way. I
But
mean, that was the problem
here's what
last
you can
year.
count on. One thing, Judge is going to be
Judge will
Judge.
be, he's going to walk
He's
more because there's nobody.
more.
Yeah.
That's right. He's not going to have the protection
So
this year.
last year, the Yankees had Judge at 458, Soto at 419, and Glaber was third at 330, with Wells at 322. And
Mhm.
then that's it. 301 was Rizzo, and he's not, he wasn't really playing. Nobody on the
Yeah.
team did it. I mean, Volpe can't go through a season with a 293 on base. His on base has to go to 330.
No,
That's the biggest
that's
thing.
the big thing. The heat
Volpe's
on
going to be
him
the
is
Volpe's going to be
greater.
the key to the offense. Volpe, everybody doing what they are supposed to do. Wells, being what Wells is supposed to do. But Volpe's going to have to do that, and Bellinger and Goldschmidt are going to have to, be low 20s homers with an on base percentage that is in line with their careers in the 330, 340 range, I would gather.
I'm going to say that if Volpe has another year like last or the year before, it may be the end of Volpe as the heir apparent to Jeter. I
You
mean,
think so?
it just I don't know. I just think that they love him, but they're not going to stick with that kind of output. Well, they got shortstops, and especially if what's his name progresses
Lombard
as well
Jr.
as he does. If Guy Lombardo Jr. does well, then this could be his job in a year or 2 years.
Well, all right. So
So
Bellinger has a career on base percentage. His career on base percentage is 334. But that's a little bit skewed because of the couple of great years he had with the Dodgers. But he was at 325 last year and 356 the year before that. So maybe it's not that skewed. So if he could do that, that'll be nice, right?
yeah,
That'll work for them. And Goldschmidt's on base percentage has got to be decent as well for his career, as I'm trying to find him around the place here. Where is Goldschmidt?
um,
Why can't I find Goldschmidt in my stats?
I
I
got
guess
him.
he's
He's
not on the team.
they're expecting this year. They're expecting
Oh, here he is.
568, 32 home runs, 103 RBIs. I mean, this is great. They're expecting a lot. And imagine this, 8 stolen bases. I mean,
Well,
here's
what's
what I
even
don't
better
get.
is his career on base percentage is 381.
Well, here's what's amazing. I'm looking at Shohei. How do they say
Of
this
course,
Shohei?
last year his on base percentage was 302, which is a
Yeah.
career low.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got to hope that he has at least as good a year as he had in his bad year in St. Louis, where his on base percentage was 346, but he did hit 30 homers that year.
That's a big jump, though, from 346 to 393, which is what they're saying he's going to have this year. That's a
Well,
lot.
his career is at 381.
So
So
I guess
if
so.
he's got to have a 340 on base percentage, he's not going to go back to being a 400 on base percentage guy. But
Yeah.
if he doesn't get hurt and he has a 340 on base, I'll take that because that's so much better than what they were getting. And Volpe's going to have to be getting on base. I mean, it's still. I mean, Austin Wells is batting leadoff for these guys.
Well, that's scary. I was arguing all year. That they thought about what mattered. They thought about having a second baseman and a leadoff hitter. They wouldn't have a problem at third base right now. But listen,
Well,
they are what they
they
are.
traded a potential second baseman to get a closer.
They better. Yeah, they did, and they better. I got to tell you, they better have some good years from their minor leaguers this year because that's the only trick. That's the only answer because there are holes in this team. This team is not a World
Well,
Series
there's
team.
clearly a hole. I mean, there's clearly holes at third base,
Yeah,
right? That's
the team is good. They're solid, but they may be very good come the 15th of July. But here's the problem. You know, who's going to get hurt? I mean, who else? They really don't have much margin for error. Their depth is
No,
there.
that's why I
So,
was saying the whole time that they can't be making any trades right now because they don't know what they're going to need come July 31st. Because
right.
even in the current state of affairs of the team, there is no prediction that I've seen that doesn't have the Yankees making the playoffs. So everybody
Yeah.
has the Yankees. Some have them still winning the division. Others have jumped on the Red Sox bandwagon. Others have been on the Orioles bandwagon. I personally am need to take a closer look. But I'm getting close to jumping on the Red Sox bandwagon with the different changes they made, and with
I
Devers now
like that team.
DH.
I like the way they look. I think they're a very exciting team, and that's something.
Well, they have a manager who does manage and makes a difference. They do let him have more of a free hand than Boone has.
Right.
But who
That's right.
knows?
All right,
Yeah,
we are 5 minutes over time,
yeah,
which is all right.
overtime. What are we, Bill
Sure.
Maher? All right.
There it is.
We will next week on
Overtime.
Thursday. So next Thursday, Adam will have been at opening day. So at some point this week, we do need to do our prediction show, and maybe we'll have a guest or two on with us to help us make some predictions.
Yeah,
Maybe even
let's do that. We'll do something later. Maybe some news will come out when they start to talk about. Thank you. Maybe we'll have Kramer. It would make his life.
Kramer would be good for a prediction show. I know that.
Yeah, he's good for that, and he'll hopefully won't fall asleep and won't lie down and show us his nose hairs. So with any luck, we will have our friend back. Okay, folks, be very well. Oh, there they are. That would have been a funny little addition to that bobblehead.
Don't get me started. All right, we will see you at least next week. Watch for more information about our show and look for us on YouTube. I got to figure out how to edit this fiasco of a show. Certainly don't want everybody to hear us doing math. Good night.
That was important, but we had an important outcome.
We did. We figured out that they made out their home run.
We got there.
We did the math in front of everybody as opposed to getting on the radio here or whatever this stupid thing is and saying, well, they had 241 last year. They're going to have 237 this year. We showed the people what they wanted to see.
Oh, what was really funny was that I was using a calculator every time what I was saying, and you were off by like 30. Both times.
Shut up. No, I wasn't. We came with the same numbers.
I'm kidding. You were very impressive. That is a quick brain.
I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. But once you get beyond that, I'm done.
Get it. But I'm telling you, for a man of your advanced age, I'm very impressed. Really.
Yeah. Well,
great. You still have your hair too. Look at that.
And it's not as gray as gray, but Well, that's like I said. You have how many daughters do you have? 2, and I have how many?
As far as I know, 2.
None. And I have none that I know of. So there's the answer of why you have gray hair and a 5-finger forehead.
That is right.
You know who you look like? You look like the guy that played Paul Reiser's cousin in Mad About You.
It's not that bad, is it?
No, he's got the same hairline. All right. Anyhow, I think we're done here. Good night.
Now I got to go check my hair.